of you guessed at about 40%. Turns out that the number actually is around 86%. And according to Google, they claim it's more like 96%. Any way you look at it, it's a very, very large number of consumers that are using online reviews. You can kind of think of your own behavior, how many of each of you read reviews before you make any kind of decision on purchasing a product or using a service. Now, related to that, the second poll here that we're going to open up now, which is the question of how many of these consumers trust the online reviews that they're actually reading. I'm going to close this right now, and I'll show you what the actual answer was. And these were from surveys that were done by universities. In fact, I'm going to show you a certain number of research to kind of give you some background about consumer reviews in general. What we've seen from the studies that we've seen is that 79% of consumers actually trust online reviews. That was a study done by another organization. They had 4,500 respondents in that survey. Interestingly enough, that number is the 2013 number. In 2012, the number was actually 72%. So in 1 year, there was a dramatic increase. You could see about a 10% increase of the number of consumers that actually trusted online reviews, which is quite fascinating. By contrast, if we can compare it to the traditional yellow pages of the consumers that use traditional yellow pages, and I know some of you may still be running ads in yellow pages, but what we're finding by the same polls that we're using, the same surveys, is that only 2% of consumers are actually using the traditional yellow pages. Really what they're doing is they're opting for online reviews or to get themselves listed in online locations. Now, when you're trying to get more customers to use your service, to call you, the question always comes up of where do you want to spend your money on marketing? And whether you do banner ads or pay-per-click or work on SEO or your website or newspaper ads or radio ads, I mean, it's actually a very long, exhaustive list. And in the end, you have to make a decision about where you think you're going to get the greatest return on investment, or ultimately what consumers are actually listening to or what they trust the most. So you really want to place your advertising or your word of mouth or whatever you want to call it in places that consumers trust most. Nielsen Rating did a study last year on what consumers trust the most when it comes to online advertising. And while personal referrals was always number one, and that's very typical, but what was fascinating to see what was in the number 2 slot was consumer opinions posted online was the second most trusted form of advertising for consumers. And if you compare that to other forms, whether it's ads on TV or ads on the radio or ads on social networks even, these are placing much, much lower on the list than you would imagine. And you think about the budgets that many of us spend on those forms of advertising relative to the consumer opinions posted online, it's quite dramatic. So it's really very important ultimately to invest in some form or another of getting consumer reviews or anything posted online in your business, assuming, of course, it's positive. Let's take a look at some more interesting data. And this is actually an interesting study that was also done. I'm going to show you the likelihood that a consumer would initiate business with a vendor that had 5 stars or 4 stars. Okay? So now we're going to do a quick poll, and we're going to ask all of you, what is the likelihood, what do you think the likelihood is that the customer would initiate business with a vendor that has a 3-star rating? We're going to close that and take a look at what the real answer is. Again, this is based on a study done by Pepperdine University in about 2 years ago. The numbers may be a little bit different now, but what we see from our survey is about the same. Overall is that only 14% would initiate with a business with a vendor that had a 3-star rating. And it's kind of astounding that it drops so fast. And again, think about your own behaviors. If you had a choice between a vendor that had a 4-star rating and a 3-star rating, I think you all know which vendor you're going to go with. Now, for a 2-star rating and a 1-star rating, you can probably guess it's pretty low. Now, here's an interesting question. What do you think would be the likelihood that a customer would initiate business with a vendor that had no ratings at all? So it appears that with no ratings at all, consumers prefer to use vendors that have ratings. So a business really is at peril when they have no ratings at all. It's very, very important to get ratings if you're going to want to get business. And in fact, having a 3-star rating is clearly a lot better than having no ratings at all. Now let's go on and look at some interesting data about on the web and reviews, and some interesting background and nuances of reviews that you may not really know about. Let's start with how customers find you. Well, obviously, with your advertising, you're creating awareness on the web, and awareness is good, but it's not about selection. Ultimately, when customers are ready to make selections, or even before they're making a selection, they will typically go on the web first. And again, think about your own behavior if you want to try to see how this all works. Typically, when all consumers are making a decision about something, they will always go and Google it. They'll search it. They'll do a little bit of research. Why? Because it's so easy to do. They could do it on their smartphone. They could do it on their tablet and the computer. It's handy. It's everywhere. And that's how everyone's making decisions about virtually everything that they are spending money on. Now, once they do a Google search, they're going to end up with a bunch of search results. And those search results are typically going to have your company website. Hopefully you have a website. And they might have some information from your website, or they might have some social media. But if you think about it, you only have one website, so that will show up as one line item on the search results. You might have some social media pages, maybe if not Facebook, you might have a Twitter feed, but usually most everyone has Facebook. Maybe you might have LinkedIn on there. It's not used as commonly in the service industry. But there's really only about 5 social media sites that you can go to. However, there are literally hundreds of review sites out there where you could get reviews, where your phone number is listed, where your business is listed, where information about your business is found, and that will show up and that will dominate the search results. So you really want to pay attention to what content is on these review sites, and especially what's being said by third parties about your business on these review sites. And that's how customers find you. So how they find you is one way, but how do they choose you over your competitors? Well, I think you kind of know the answer already, your reviews, of course, but there's a lot more to it than just getting reviews. Let's have a look and take a deeper look into how consumer perceptions impact the decisions, as well as how they impact search engine optimization. I'm sure you've heard of search engine optimization or local search engine optimization, which is basically how you impact the search results of Google when someone's looking for some service locally. So there are 6 key factors that you have to pay attention to, and I'm going to go through these 6 factors. These factors essentially are the consistency, the breadth, the recency, the quantity, the balance, and the quality of the reviews. So let's have a look at what each of these really mean. The first one is consistency. This is the notion of having consistent listings. The Google search engine will award a business in the search results that has consistent listings. The phone number should be the same across all the review sites. The address, the name of the business should be the same. Even your website should be consistent. This is also very important, not just from a search results perspective, but also from your customer's perspective. If a customer searches for your business and gets the wrong phone number from a review site because you didn't change your number or on that site, didn't update the address when you moved, they're likely to go somewhere else. And we know from our own customers and other research that their businesses lose anywhere from 2 to 10% of potential business by not having their listings consistent on review sites. So that's the notion of consistency. Now let's take a look at breadth. It's very important to have your business listed on many sites, again, as I mentioned, because you want to dominate the search results. As you see, for example, in this one, you can see this pizza place called Pizza Nosh, and is all over the place on the first page of the search results. And in some cases, their star ratings are even reflected through in the Google search results. That's the notion of breadth. You want to have that coverage, you want to have that spread of review sites on the first page of the Google results, and of course on the second and third page as well. Said another way, if you look at 2 businesses, one has only listings and reviews on one site, in this case Google, and the other has them spread across many review sites, which one do you think has the better reputation and the better SEO? Well, I think you're kind of getting the idea here. It would be business B the one that has the reviews and the review spread across many review sites. Now let's take a look at quantity. The quantity of reviews matters as well. For example, here are two bakeries. Now, one bakery has 3 reviews. The other bakery has 17 reviews. Which one is the one that consumers are more attracted to? Which ones are the ones that are more believable? Well, it's the one that has 17 reviews. The more reviews, the better. And that's what you want to get. It also affects Google search in general. If you search in a general category, like coffee reviews, or of course if you search plumber or air conditioning service, Google will rank the locations that have the better ratings and larger number of reviews higher in the list. As you can see from the search results over here, for example, coffee reviews in Los Angeles, the ones that stand out at the top are the ones that have more reviews, and the ones that are at the bottom of the list, the ones that have less reviews. So having a lot more reviews is very, very important just in terms of affecting the Google search. If you're familiar with the Google Carousel, it's something new that Google's introduced as they're rolling it out to other categories. That will also affect the carousel as well, where the ones that have more reviews are at the beginning of the carousel, and the ones that have less reviews are at the end of the carousel. So that's also very important as it affects search results on the carousel. Now let's look at the next category, which is the idea of recency. This is something that a lot of people don't pay attention to. They think, hey, I've got 10 reviews, I'm good to go. Well, actually, that's not really the case. Let's take a look at this from a consumer perspective, and I'll tell you what Google does from a search perspective. Here you have 2 dentists. One of them has 6 reviews. The other has only 4 reviews. But the difference is that the ones that has only 4 reviews, those reviews are more recent. And again, it's a lot more attractive to a consumer to see recent reviews. You got to wonder, is this other dentist that has reviews from over a year ago, maybe nobody goes there anymore. Maybe it's just not popular. So recency of reviews makes your business look vibrant, makes it look real, makes it look like that's the place people are going to because you're better. Google search also gives precedence to listings and review sites that have more recent reviews. So if your competitor has more recent reviews than you are, they're very likely going to get extra points in the Google search and may show up higher in the Google search before you do. So it's very important to have more recent reviews if you're going to dominate that search. Let's talk about balance. Now, balance is also very important. A lot of people think that they have to have a perfect 5-star rating. Well, that's really not necessarily the case. First of all, if you try doctor reviews, it doesn't really going to help you. Here's a place that has a transmission service, for example, and they have 49 reviews. They have a perfect 5-star rating. I think a lot of people will be suspect of that and say, I wonder, that doesn't really sound right. How is it possible they have 49 perfect reviews? On the other hand, here's another business that only has 22 reviews. It's only a 4.7 rating out of 5. They do have 1 negative review. Well, actually, it kind of looks balanced. So it's okay to have 1 or 2 negative reviews alongside a bunch of positive reviews. That shows that you're real and it looks more balanced. And in fact, the Google search engine does award for the view of balance. Balance does rank higher overall because it looks like there's actually a realism to the reviews as well. So that's the notion of balance. The last component is quality. And this is really what's written in the reviews themselves, and they do affect the search results. So for example, if you're a paper company like Dunder Mifflin, and you're looking for the words paper or quality or delivery, those might be important words for search. If you're an auto body shop, things like body paint or damaged vehicle, as someone searches, these things are going to affect the Google search. So it's very important if you're a plumber and you're trying to affect Google search, and people are writing about, hey, they really fixed my toilet, or I had a leaky shower and they're able to resolve my problem. Leaky shower, toilet, those are all key words that are important for your reviews. So that will also affect your search results. So in summary, these are the 6 components that affect reviews. There's actually a lot more complexity to it. There's a lot of little things under the hood, that affect Google search. But whether you look at it from a Google search perspective or a human reading reviews, all these things are very important in affecting how consumers ultimately make a decision about your business. Ultimately, again, it's about getting great reviews, and great reviews do drive more business. Now, in fact, there have been a couple of studies done recently by a couple of universities about how reviews actually affect your business. According to a Harvard Business School study, they showed that a 1-star improvement could lead to a 5 to 9% increase in revenue. Another study done by Woodbury University shows that 65% of business owners surveyed expected business to increase by at least 5%. The majority even felt that it increased certainly at least 1%. So there's certainly a lot of evidence that it'll affect reviews. We've seen the reverse of that actually quite visible, is that a negative review will probably hurt your business even more than it would if it was a positive review. So avoiding negative reviews is very, very important. Of course, overcoming negative reviews by getting a lot of positive reviews is very important as well. But negative reviews can also have a very negative impact on your business. And if any of you have any experience a situation where you have a negative review, you know how much it can hurt you. It's very painful as a business, not just personally, but also it actually affects your top line. So I think you kind of get it now, right? Reviews are critically important, and they're everywhere, and they'll help grow your business. So why do you need help? Well, there's a few reasons. First of all, one of the biggest problems out there is that reviewers are very often motivated by emotion. In fact, in our surveys, and even when we speak, we do interviews with all our clients and potential clients, we find that angry customers are the ones that are venting. They're the ones that are writing a lot of the negative reviews. And the happy customers are more passive. In fact, almost universally, what we've heard, and you probably don't know from your own experiences, is that most businesses know that they have their majority of their customers are quite happy, very happy, and it's only those silent, the small number of angry customers that actually put anything online. So you need a way to get more of those positive reviews online, and that's one of the things you have to focus on. You have to really find a way to get more of those reviews, and you can do that by asking for reviews, asking your clients to write you reviews. That's something that you have to do, but it's not easy. It takes time and effort. You have to stay on top of all asking reviews. You have to follow up with them. You have to see what's being written out there and make sure that there's nothing negative on there, and if there is, to address it. Dealing with the review sites takes time, and you have to be able to track your progress to see if you actually are getting good reviews. So that's really why it's a good idea to engage a business or a service to help you with your reviews, and that's essentially our shameless plug of the day before we take questions, is why Review Inc. is in business in the first place. So anyway, the shameless plug is, of course, call us for a free and obligation consultation demonstration. We'd love to tell you about what we do. Please do mention that you came from PHCC. We actually may be running a special for PHCC members. We'll certainly analyze your business and tell you more about how we can help you. So I will stop here and now open the floor for questions. Probably.
How can employees help get more reviews?
So that's a great question. So getting reviews is a number of different ways to do it, and again, it depends on your business. So if, for example, if you're a service organization and the employee just provides service, the employee can engage the client or the customer and ask them for a review. Well, they can do it one of two ways. They can say, hey, can you please go on Yelp or Google and write a review about us? The only downside for that is that there's no follow-up. Much better is to get someone's email and send them an email and ask for the review. But again, how do you know they did it? How do you follow up? The alternative is, again, is to use a service like Reviewing, which kind of automates that process through emails or SMS messages and really engages them and does the automatic follow-up for reviews. And then that way you can really, pull the reviews into you, and ideally I recommend getting reviews privately first. In fact, surveys that we've done show us that customers generally prefer to give feedback first privately. And then after they've engaged with you and you kind of respond to them, then they will put those reviews publicly. And that's really good because if you do that, you're likely to avert any negative reviews in a private situation. At the same time, you'll be able to see a lot more of what feedback is being said out there because you'll get a lot more positive reviews given to you in a private manner, and typically those can be converted to public reviews. One of the ways you can also ask reviews is, and you want to try to use as many places as you can, is to try to get reviews on mobile phones, on tablets, on your website, certainly through emails. There's a lot of different ways that can be done. Again, shameless plug, Reviewing does have all those services, and again, we're more than happy to show you how that works.
If a former disgruntled employee starts posting false bad reviews, is there any way to get sites to remove those reviews?
Excellent, excellent question. There are situations with some sites that you can have those reviews removed. We actually do work with our clients on those situations. Typically, we're able to identify methods such as a violation of terms of service of the review site, and you have to know which terms they violated, and you can point those out. But we have successfully removed, in some occasions, reviews. It's not a 100% guarantee, but another thing you can do is if you know it's a former employee, you can respond to that and say, this is a former employee and we're disappointed that they chose a public forum to air their gripes. We happy to talk to them privately. And sometimes if you're open about it, that's one way to address it. The best way really to overcome all the situations really is to counterbalance them with a lot of positive reviews, in a sense drown out the noise of a disgruntled or angry customer. So very good question.
All right, thanks for that answer.
Okay, well, looks like the votes are in. We got a fair number of votes out there. Appreciate the feedback. Looks like all of you found this somewhat or very useful, so we're glad to hear that. Again, I encourage all of you, if you're interested, feel free to contact us, and we'll certainly see what we can do to help you out and give you some ideas of what we can do to help you. Please do mention that you are a PHCC member. That would be very important for us to know. And other than that, Wayne, I'll turn it over to you. I think we are done with this webinar for today.